For decades, the dominant formula for a major Indian hit has relied on scale. We're talking massive budgets, physics-defying stunts, and stars whose personas are designed to overpower the screen. But in the state of Kerala, the Malayalam film industry operates on a different logic. Most of their productions run on a small fraction of a typical blockbuster budget, focusing instead on practical, grounded environments. This was the face of the 2013 thriller Drishyam. It cost very little to produce, yet it became a cultural trend that was remade in nearly every major Indian language and several foreign ones. It raised a question for the wider industry. How can a regional thriller command national attention without using a single explosion or high-speed chase? The shift relied on moving the source of tension from the screen into the viewer's own deductive logic. In Mollywood, mid to low budgets are a forcing function. Without the capital for massive VFX or exorbitant star fees, filmmakers have to rely on the mechanics of the screenplay to maintain engagement. The blueprint for this started in 1993 with the film Mani Chitrataju. It took a story that looked like a traditional ghost haunting and turned it into a psychological thriller. This one film taught regional audiences to look for scientific, logical explanations behind every mystery, rather than relying on the supernatural. It led to a new kind of protagonist, the ordinary person who is intelligent, flawed, and physically vulnerable. You see this in survival thrillers like Adu Jeevitam, where the stakes aren't about saving the world, but about a single man trying to endure a harsh, life-threatening desert landscape. Because these heroes aren't invincible, the audience has to solve the puzzle alongside them just to see if they'll make it out alive. When the budget removes visual excess, the psychological pressure on the character has to carry the weight of the film. This realism extends to the police work. Filmmakers here have largely abandoned the super cop archetype in favor of realistic investigative protocols. This is procedural realism. Tension is built through the methodical gathering of evidence, forensics, cyber tracking, and witness statements, rather than through action beats. These investigations happen in authentic, unpolished settings. The grit of a busy street or a local shop makes the stakes feel immediate and real. These grounded stories often explore deeper societal issues, using a murder investigation to look at class divides, corruption, or local power dynamics. This style requires a specific kind of performance. There is no room for loud melodrama. The internal conflict is conveyed through subtle, restrained acting. By mirroring actual society, these thrillers make the consequences of a crime feel like they could happen in the viewer's own neighborhood. Historically, these films were hard to find outside of Kerala. Language and geographic barriers meant they rarely traveled far from local theaters. That changed with the rise of global streaming platforms. Territorial blockades that existed for decades were dissolved almost overnight. High-quality subtitles allowed non-Malayalam speakers to follow intricate plots without losing the cultural nuance that makes these films unique. This graph compares traditional theatrical reach to digital discovery. Algorithms surfaced these mid-budget thrillers globally, delivering high returns because the stories prioritize engagement over scale. This digital infrastructure found viewers seeking complex narratives, bypassing the need for a massive marketing blitz. Streaming platforms acted as a bridge, carrying these script-heavy narratives past the traditional industry gatekeepers. The success of this model has shifted audience expectations. There is now a clear demand for thrillers that prioritize cognitive engagement over visual volume. We see this reflected in how major studios are now acquiring regional scripts to meet a growing appetite for complex plotting. The consistent performance of these films on international charts shows that a screenplay's internal tension can travel just as far as an action sequence. It proves that you don't need a world-ending threat to hold an audience's attention, as long as the story respects their intelligence. In a market saturated with high-cost CGI, a well-structured narrative has become an efficient way to capture a global audience.